Hey guys, your boy here. I'm just going to read out an excerpt from a book I want to write. Enjoy. P.S. Please ignore the low-key ASMR sounds. Fate has chosen me as its arbiter. Justice has chosen me as its mortal hand. And death has chosen me as its avatar. I am the tap root to the wellspring. I am the all-seeing eyes of the unforgiving heavens. I see you now. You have been weighed. I am the cruel form of divine retribution. When destiny speaks, he uses my mouth. He tells you now. You are to be wrought from this mortal coil and torn from the annals of history. You have no place in the days to come. I am your own rapture. This is the inescapable truth. The hulking form continued to walk towards Giovanni, who for his part was still calm. This is likely because Giovanni did not yet grasp the gravity of his situation, and was content with leaving the loon, albeit a very stockily built loon, to his own goons, who were the biggest people Giovanni knew. They all stood something like 7 feet tall, and each held a semi-automatic. But the shape looming towards them in the alley seemed to subtly get bigger, as if finally standing up after a long time spent cowled over. Its cloaked shoulders scraped the walls on either sides of the alley, which didn't make sense, because Giovanni stood shoulder to shoulder with 2 of his goons in the same alley. The shape reached to its back, and there was a slight click as a huge obsidian and silver scythe lifted high into the air. "Fire," said Giovanni, the hair on the back of his neck standing up. In his many years of being the veritable poster child of organized crime, he had not lost his cool many times. Once when Maria had left him, once when Ivanovich had busted his biggest shipment. But he would not lose it here. The goons pulled the triggers on their weapons simultaneously, launching several high-caliber magazines straight into the giant's chest. Even though there was no visible ballistics vest, even Kevlar wouldn't save him from the internal hemorrhaging that would gift him. But he did not double over, nor did he even falter. Now, Giovanni did lose his cool. To his credit, it was an appropriate reaction, but it was far too late to save him from what was coming. He turned heel to run, trying to signal the goons to escape too, but the only reply when he called for them to run was a series of sickening pops, crunches, and gunshots. The gunshots ceased after a couple seconds. He turned around and saw the broken forms of 3 of his goons on the ground, the extent of their injuries obscured by the shadows. The 4th was being lifted skywards by his neck, the giant using one hand to suspend the man and the other hand to crack his head off the wall. A sickening crunch ended the man's struggles, almost in place, but his legs kept kicking as his body dropped to the floor. Most impressive in the swift dispatch of 4 armed, trained heavyweight mafioso bodyguards, the man had not broken stride in his inexorable journey towards Giovanni. The scythe twirled prettily in the muddy orange of the streetlight. Giovanni would not beg, this much he knew. He pulled a silver embossed handgun from his carefully tailored fine 3-piece. He unloaded 2 in the heart, 3 in the head. The man reached an inescapable hand towards Giovanni. The hand was not as big as it seemed it ought to be. In one of those peculiar moments of calm and chaos, Giovanni noticed that the man's hugeness seemed to not stem from a simple matter of being very large, but rather from a disregard to Euclidean geometry. If you regarded any particular part of him, it seemed not so far from normal size, but he still could not be seen in his entirety even from a couple of feet away. The scythe lifted high in the air, hanging at the apex of its arc for a moment or two, overshadowing the moon. If Giovanni was a religious man, he might have prayed before the end. It would have been useless. The giant was a religious man. He uttered a short hymn for Giovanni. That was useless too.